10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Allumage de ESR et décollage. La propulsion est nominale. Pilotage calme.
We have lifted off. Ariane 6 and CSO-3 have started their
Propulsion
journey.
nominale.
He's telling us that the propulsion is normal. We are looking here at our cameras, onboard cameras.
Tous les paramètres à bord sont nominaux.
He's telling us that everything is going normally. I believe, David, we're looking down here at one of the boosters.
Yes, that's right. These are the onboard cameras. We have a
Propulsion
cloudy day
nominale.
today, so you can see the rocket going through the clouds.
Indeed, we've already broken the sound barrier.
Pilotage calme, trajectoire nominale, paramètres à bord nominaux.
He's telling us that everything's going according to plan. David, we can hear our rocket coming over the Jupiter Mission Control Center about 16 kilometers from that pad. It takes time for the noise to get to us, the rumble, as it's sometimes known in the jungle.
That's right, and we can feel now the vibrations of the boosters coming up to us 15 kilometers away.
Indeed, and it's those boosters which are doing all the work, even though we have switched on the engine on the Vulcan engine on the main stage. The boosters, well, their job is to literally boost us away from
Trajectoire nominale, paramètres à bord nominaux.
That's right. It's the boosters are providing more than 85% of the more than 800 tons that we need to take off, and these boosters will burn its 2 times 142 tons of propellant during a bit more than 2 minutes. And after that, we will have lost about 70% of the mass that we had at the time of liftoff.
That's the name of the game. The lighter we are, of course, the faster we go. Those boosters scheduled to detach in a matter of seconds. Seeing our images here on the live cameras.
Séparation des ESR.
Just a few seconds after the event, but we have confirmation that those have actually separated. As I said, the images are coming to us for technical reasons, just with a very slight delay. And he's telling us that the propulsion is nominal. And there we go. That's what it looks like in space. Those boosters falling away. The trajectory on the right-hand side of our screen.
Trajectoire nominale, paramètres à bord sont nominaux.
Everything's normal. The green line is the planned trajectory. The cross, indeed, is our actual position of our rocket. Our speed and altitude. David?
Yes, we're close to 100 kilometers now, and we're 150 kilometers downrange from Kourou, and we have a speed now of 1.7 kilometers per second and increasing.
Per second, not per hour, per second. So that's the kind of speeds we're going to be heading up towards. We'll be getting to 8 kilometers per second. Look at the images on the bottom right of your screen. That is the big main stage, the tank of fuel at the very front of sort of pointy section, if you like, is our fairing with our satellite inside. It's got a number of different jobs. It's protecting the satellite, isn't it?
Right, it protects the satellite while it's on the ground against dust, humidity, and any kind of pollution. Then it protects the satellite during the launch itself, the liftoff, because there is a lot of acoustic noise. And finally, during the atmosphere part, then it protects it against the air friction and the extreme heat that is generated by this friction.
So our satellite nice and comfortable up there in first class inside the fairing, having started its journey. That fairing will remain there for another few seconds. And of course, as we saw earlier, David, you were explaining it's made in 2 halves.
That's right, and this is the onboard camera showing the 2 halves of the fairing that will separate.
Séparation coiffe.
We have confirmation that the fairing has separated, and we'll be seeing those, hopefully, those images on our onboard camera. It actually, as it separates, David, it flexes. It's called the breathing mode. It's very specially designed to do that.
Yes, that's right. The breathing mode. Here we go. We have the separation and the breathing mode through the onboard cameras. This breathing mode is this movement of the two halves that happens due to the forces of the pyrotechnic separation and then the ejection forces and the flexibility of the structure.
Looking back down at our planet now, you can see that thin blue line.
La propulsion est nominale.
The atmosphere of our Earth. He's telling us that the propulsion's normal, everything's going according to plan. So we're burning the main stage. It's a great big tank of fuel. David, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so the main stage is a cryogenic stage. It's 32 meters tall and about 5 meter diameter. It weighs 23 tons and burns 154 tons of cryogenic propellant. And it has two tanks, a hydrogen tank in the lower part, an oxygen tank in the upper part. And for those who remember, on Ariane 5 we had a common bulkhead, meaning that the two tanks were together. On Ariane 6 they are separate. And this in order to improve the handling of the pressures in the tanks.
Propulsion nominale.
And in the lower part of the tanks, we have the Vulcan 2.1, which is an improved version of the Vulcan 2 engine that we had on Ariane 5. We have improved the nozzle manufacturing. We have gas generators which are made using additive manufacturing, and we have also added a thermal protection around the nozzle in order to protect it from the heat coming from the boosters. And this will burn for over 7 minutes, increasing speed and altitude.
Separating each section of the rocket looks simple, but of course a lot is actually happening up there, and we're getting closer now to the next main event, which will be cutoff of that main engine.
Yes, that's right. It's the guidance algorithm that's on the onboard computer that will detect that we have reached the right orbit for separation, and then it will send the shutdown command to the Vulcan engine. After that, we will have a pyrotechnic separation between the two stages and a set of springs that will push away the two stages. And we should be able to see it on the onboard cameras.
You can see on the bottom right is you can see our satellite CSO3 attached to the front of the rocket, at the top of the rocket. Getting close now to the next event. We call it MECO, main engine cutoff.
Extinction Vulcain.
And we have confirmation that the engine has switched off.
Séparation LLPM.
And we have confirmation that the main stage has separated, and the upper stage has switched its engine on, and that's what it looks like up there in space with our onboard cameras. That great big
propulsion nominale
of propellant. It's burnt its fuel. It's falling back down to Earth. So, David, the upper stage has taken the wheel. It's a little bit like a fancy orbital taxi driver, because its job is to drop off its passengers in space. Today we just have one passenger. And we've got a new engine for the upper stage. It's called the Vinci engine.
Yes, the Vinci engine is one of the big innovations of Ariane 6. It provides the mission flexibility. It is designed to switch on and off up to 4 times, allowing to take different passengers to different orbits. It's the first Ariane rocket that has a cryogenic engine with this reignition capability. For the mission today, we will use the engine twice to deliver CSO3 to its orbit. And after that, we will use a third burn of the engine to deorbit the upper stage.
And we had the range operations manager just back there announce that we've switched on something called the APU, the auxiliary propulsion unit. It's a new device that we've got on the upper stage. It performs a number of critical functions to enhance the versatility of Ariane 6. Everything's going normally. We'll talk a bit more about that, David, later in the program. So do